Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Cinema Recall podcast show. I am the Vern, and look who's with me back, everyone. It's Ashley.
Whoa! Look out.
Whoa! You've been away from the show for like a long time.
Yeah, I know.
I couldn't get you on for our Yahoo for Yarko series because you're like, oh, those movies are so weird and foreign and different. I even tried to get you back on for our Poor Things episode, and you're like, no, Vern, that's too artsy and weird and strange and whatnot.
I think I was working. Don't try and make me into something I'm not. You jerk.
Sure. But when I finally did mention we're going to do episodes about Ryan Gosling, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Hey now. So, thank you.
So she was not Yahoo for Yorgos, but she's Gugu for Gosling. Got it.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Excellent.
And the voice you heard is our special guest, Robert Pep from the Cinemigos podcast show. Hello, Robert. Or is it Rob?
Hello.
Or
Yo,
Bob?
what's going on, everybody? Vern, thanks for having me. Ashley, thanks for having me on as well. I'm excited to talk about some Gosling films that I have not seen. So this will be a lot of fun.
Oh,
do you go by Robert or Rob? Or Bob?
Robert, asshole, whatever you want to call me. It's fine with me. Yeah, hey
Nice.
you.
Hey you.
Whoa. First of all, I want to say to everyone, thank you very much for listening to us on your favorite podcast platforms. We're available on Apple Podcasts and Google, Spotify, Good Pods, everywhere you can find podcasts. We're also available on YouTube. Thank you very much. We're also available on Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio app for your iOS and Android phone. It picks up the most trending articles on the web and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time ever, the entire web becomes listenable. Stop scrolling, start listening. Go to newsly.me, use the promo code RECALL, and get 1 month free of their premium service. Now, this is part of the show that I am dubbing Rage Corner. Rage Corner, brought to you by our wonderful chaps at the Film Rage podcast. I want to ask you, our guest Robert from Cinemigos, what is your film rage that you have for us?
I have a couple minor film rages. One, the news kind of just dropped today with Tarantino with his last film coming up, and he's now going to be changing it because I think a lot of the fan backlash, quote unquote fan backlash on his movie critic movie. He said, "Well, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore." So he's going to be shifting gears on that, and it's like, listen, it's the man's last film. Let him do whatever the fuck he wants to do. I think because the reception of Death Proof was not received very well, he's been a little bit more, maybe I shouldn't go into the stuff that I really like, which is, much more of the obscure craziness. And for me, I'm just like, listen, I'm going to watch the film regardless. If people don't get it, people don't get it. And who gives a shit? Go out, be crazy, do what you want to do. Who gives a shit about like what the average Joe moviegoer is gonna want to watch? Like this, he's a cinephile's director, so may not everyone's gonna get him, and that's okay. So I'm just kind of like mad that I was looking forward to it. It's like let's go crazy with it, but I'm sure whatever comes out is gonna be fine. I'm just like, come on, guys, just let the man do what he wants to do.
I like Death Proof. I really like Death Proof.
Is awesome.
I think that is a hell of a lot of fun movie, and I'm really upset that a lot of people turned on the movie because I'm sure if they didn't, he would not call that his worst movie he ever directed. There's never been a bad Tarantino movie, in my opinion.
No, not at all. That was one. The other one I heard too is now obviously we've heard that Best Buy has stopped selling physical media. Now Target is going the same direction. And it's just like, oh man, come on, guys! And for me, I buy a lot of physical media. I buy a lot of.
So does Vern.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just now that like we have another seller that is going away from that market is kind of, it bugs me. And thankfully we have things like Criterion and Arrow Video and Kino Lorber and like Vinegar Syndrome and all these places that are committed to doing the film preservation, kind of giving us physical media. But yeah, a lot of these major corporations that you could normally get like your newer film, some of the steel books, maybe some special editions. That's just going away.
That Yeah, because like I think Vinegar Syndrome is the same company that does all like the Vestron old
Yeah, they do
releases.
Vestron and all that stuff too. Yeah, like Grindhouse Video is another one that does a whole bunch of these as well. So
And like those because they feature a lot of great special features. Sometimes, not all, but sometimes they'll put in the edited for TV version on them. I know I had
yeah.
I had an edition of Halloween that had the TV cut of it, and that was kind of a
Oh,
cool
that's
thing.
amazing.
But
Yeah.
I kind of wish it would have like those what we call here commercials that were airing at the time
That would be cool.
of it recording there. Yeah, so that's a good one there. Love that physical media is dying down. Luckily, there's still places like Barnes and Noble bookstores, and
Thank
I don't
God.
know other places
Amazon,
that
right?
there's
You
no
can
store for
order
does
it from
that.
Amazon.
Yeah.
true. I like going into a store and
Yeah,
getting
I mean,
it
I
in my
get it.
hands. All right, I want to just go and travel somewhere and order it, and so I can
You want
see
to
it and
walk
hold
through
it.
with your wallet up in the air? You're like,
I
put
yes,
all
I
of the
do.
things in my hand. I want all of it.
I want
I will pay
I
for it
want
with
people
cash money.
with That's right. I want to actually have people see all the bad, terrible movies that I'm buying in physical media form.
Yeah.
But yes, people, I buy DVDs. I am from another era. I am from the past, from a long time ago, where people buy DVDs and VHS tapes. Look at
Hey,
me.
unfortunately, some of my favorite films, they don't have a Blu-ray or 4K release. I got DVD at best sometimes. So
That's that's true. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm still. I know there's been a couple of DVDs that I have, and I'm just blanking on. I can't think of them right now at the top of my head. But there's like, I had one for Grindhouse, the Tarantino Rodriguez movie Grindhouse, and it
yeah,
has
yeah.
both the theatrical version where it had all the trailers and whatnot in the two movies, and then it has both Death Proof and Planet Terror and their special features as separate discs. So it's a 6 disc set,
Oh
and
man, that's
That's
amazing.
hefty.
I would love that to be on a 4K release, but I'm happy because it's a
It really
small
You guys are
Japanese import.
you guys are funny because I have a whole bunch of DVDs that I like literally I found them. They were in my coffee table drawers, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about these. I don't even own a DVD player. I'm just gonna throw them away.
Don't throw them away. No, I will pay you for
You want,
them.
you want me to give them
Yeah,
to you? You can have
I
them.
do.
yeah. Let me sift through them
Really?
for a little bit. Let me see what we got.
Yeah. Well, it's nothing great.
But
I'm
like,
gonna tell you right now.
but yeah,
You're not missing out on much over here.
yeah.
Oh,
But like
no.
one of my favorite films, which just had its 20th anniversary a couple of years ago, which I would love to see a nice 4K release on, is Pool Hall Junkies. We did an episode of that on our show. I got lambasted by my co-host for that film because I personally really love it. I think it's great. It's one of the great pool hall films. Not as good as The Hustler, but for me it's up there. Starring and directed by Mars Callahan, which is it's a fun picture.
I've
But
not
All
no,
yet
right.
seen
no,
that movie. I don't
no
think.
Blu-ray
I,
release.
no Blu-ray. Oh, damn it! That would have been very nice to see a Blu-ray, at least for that one for you. Yeah, right now I know there's other DVDs that I have not gotten rid of yet. Like Dogma is one, for
Oh yeah.
example, that has not gotten
That's
a
another one
Blu-ray
that's just kind
release.
of stuck in some black fog of legality that where we don't
Be-
have any sort
it's
of nice release of that.
that asshole Weinstein still owns the rights to that. That's why we don't have a.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So until he dies, hint, hint.
yeah.
All right, yeah. Uh, Ash, do you have anything
Yeah.
to rage about? Okay,
Oh, I
nothing to
do. I
rage
have a
about.
lot to rage, but it would be a lot, and then I would go off on a tangent, and y'all don't want that.
That's what.
Let me
That's
just
what
stay
I'm all for the
positive here.
rage.
Okay, all right.
Let me
Okay,
just
that's
stay
what rage
positive.
stories
If
are
I start
for.
raging, it's not gonna be good for anybody. I'll just Just keep it bottled up inside. I'll stick it down in my cancer hole. I'll rage about it later.
She's gonna wait until the
Okay.
movies when she gets to talk about Gosling, and then she's gonna really rage.
Yeah.
That's rich choice. All right. Well, the only thing I have to rage about, and it's a small rage, it has to deal with movie remakes and reboots.
Oh yeah.
I just saw
No.
the trailer for Speak No Evil, the remake with James McAvoy, and the weird thing is that Speak No Evil is a Swedish movie, but all the actors speak English, or they speak mostly English in this. And now they're remaking it with American actors speaking more English. And Speak No Evil was it was released to Shudder only about like a last year, right? 2022 or 2023 is when this movie got made. It's about a family who meets this other couple and their son who doesn't
what
speak.
that is about. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that preview now. It looks weird. But there's a I didn't know it was a remake though.
So being remade now from Blumhouse, and I just don't understand
Blumhouse
it.
has been doing some real work on that, because aren't they doing like another Blair? They're trying to redo Blair Witch.
Yes,
man, they need to maybe don't do that one. That's unnecessary. You don't need to redo Blair Witch. We got the best scene ever. Was a close up of her nose dripping with snot. Terrified. That's like, we don't need to redo that. We don't.
Yeah.
Oh, but you could add in CG effects.
No,
and that's stupid.
The whole reason it was scary is because you didn't see anything.
Well, the reason why it worked for back then is that everyone thought it was a real thing.
Everybody thought it was real. Yeah, there's also that.
Yeah, it's like just as growing, because I was a younger guy back then. I was still I was going into high school when that came out, and we're like, oh man, is this real? Like I was like, oh, I'm not gonna watch this. It looks too real, too scary. I'm not into it. But then it's like when I got older and started to learn more about the movie, it's like, this is a brilliant marketing campaign. We all thought that this was real. Holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And there's no way to put lightning in a bottle again. Same thing with The Crow. The Crow being remade. That movie, the original, set so well in the 90s. It has that 90s aesthetic with that soundtrack and that look. And plus, you cannot replace Brandon Lee as Eric Draven, in my opinion. All right? I guess what I'm getting to my rage about this whole thing is that I get upset whenever people talk about remakes and they say, oh, you can just watch the original. Nothing's happened to the original. And my rage about that is that a lot of times when you look up these movies, they'll only feature the remake.
The remake.
When you look up The Fly, it's not going to show you the one with Vincent Price. It's going to show you the one with Jeff Goldblum. And so whenever these new things get remade, it's only going to show you just the newest thing that's out there without really the original. And that makes sense if the remake gets better. Like, I will admit the remake of The Fly is better than the original, but they're two totally different movies that you can watch them back to back and have a different experience with that. So,
well, just there like Roadhouse.
Did you watch
don't
the
even
Roadhouse?
Get me started on Roadhouse. Oh my God!
I watched the new one, and it's nothing like. I mean, like the plot is like there's a doctor, there's a guy who fights people. It's like so loosely based on the plot of the first one, but it's nothing like the first one. Like I watched the Patrick Swayze one today, actually, because I just really like that movie. Yeah. So, and I did not like the remake. I mean, it was fun in a sort of like if that would have been on a big screen, I guess it would have been fun just because of the explosions and the big shit. Like, but that's not. I don't know. I like the original Roadhouse.
You know what the original has that the new one doesn't have?
Heart.
Well, Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Well, that's
one. A Sam Elliott character.
My
non-CGI fights.
What's that?
What was that?
or non CGI fights, because some of those
I
fights,
know.
like they were
So
all
dumb.
it's like,
You know
well, we
who
can't
I could
actually
not
punch
stand
real
in that
people.
movie was Conor McGregor. What a fucking twat! Like
That wrestler, yeah.
his character is so obnoxious. I was just like, oh god, okay, this is gonna
Well, he
be
was
his
just
whole.
playing himself.
He's playing himself. Yeah, dumb.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Lots to reach out here, folks. I love this very much. For our podcast listeners, yes, our podcast listeners, we love you. You're going to hear an ad spot from another amazing, great show, and I'm going to pick this at random. It's from the Cast to Roll podcast. So you're going to hear a wonderful ad spot from them. Not for our YouTube listeners. Our YouTube listeners, we're going to have a quick little pause. Freeze frame.
I couldn't hold it for much longer. Freeze frame.
And we're back.
Except
Hello, everyone.
Vern's frozen. Oh, there he is.
I'm
You
here.
literally were freeze framed.
That's what happens in my
frame?
area. All right,
Yeah.
I can do that. I can
Magic.
manipulate time. Yeah.
I'm out of the carbonite now. Good. I'm good. I'm good to go.
Okay. Nice. Yes, everyone. Welcome back to Cinema Recall podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. We're here today to talk about 2 Ryan Gosling features for our Oogling Gosling. I'm not quite sure exactly what the series.
Googling Gosling.
Oogling Gosling. I'm not quite sure
Bernie
what the
can't
series.
say it.
I
It's
can't.
a tongue
I can.
twister.
I
I
can
think
say
Rob
stuff.
had it down best.
Say they did for us, Rob.
Gaga for Gosling.
There you go.
Gaga for
for
Gosling?
Gosling.
Yeah.
Okay,
Story.
I like that. I'll be sure to tag you in post that you are our author of that name.
Sounds good to me, brother.
So yes, today talking about 2 features from Ryan Gosling. The first one we're going to start with, I think, should be The Nice Guys. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about The Nice Guys.
Nice Guys, released in 2016, written and directed by Shane Black, starring Ryan Gosling as Holland March, Russell Crowe as Jackson Healy, Angora Rice as Holly March, and Margaret Qualley as Amelia Kuttner. And who wants to do the story? Did I mess up here? Did I say the name? I'm sure I said the name right.
Amelia Kuttner.
Amelia.
Mhm.
Sorry. Does anyone take a stab at the story, or otherwise I can?
Just go for it,
Go
Vern.
for it, man.
Okay, so
No, sorry, Vern.
okay,
Tell
so
us the story.
So Ryan Gosling plays this investigator who is investigating the missing niece of this older lady, and he's trying to get information from other people, and he's trying to get information from Margaret Qualley's character, and she doesn't want to be found, so she hires Jackson Healy, played by Russell Crowe, and then he comes over to Ryan Gosling's house to put the the fight on him, to get him to stop the smackdown. All right, but then those 2 actually do team up to investigate more about the disappearance of that girl, who
Of
is
Misty Mountains.
Misty Mountains. Yes,
Mhm.
What a
porn
great
star
porn
Misty
name.
Mountains, played by Maria Telilo. I have no idea what other movie she's been in, but I will research her later. Let's see now. This movie also has Kim Basinger, Keith David, other people in there. It's a fun comedy caper. And let's start with you, David. I'm sorry, Robert. I just want to get you some general feedback about this movie. You said this was your first time watching it?
Yeah, this is my first time watching it. Like both our films today are both first times for me. Well, one I love Russell Crowe. I think he's pretty great in just about anything I've seen him in, and especially because this kind of brings back some of the LA Confidential crew. Because he's starting that. It brings back Kim Basinger, so that we have her back in this film. So we have that connection, and it's kind of this. This was a film that Shane Black had done back. I think he had written this actually a long time ago, or had the idea for the Nice Guys early on, and
Mhm.
it's like, well, we can go this direction, and because they had all these '70s inspirations, it's like, well, why don't we just set the film in the '70s and have do it that way? And the idea that our two main characters, there are quote unquote the nice guys, yet they're kind of dicks at the same time. So it's kind of this kind of nice twist on that a little bit. But they have these certain moments. One, I think their chemistry together is great, where they're both good detectives in a certain sense, but obviously Ryan Gosling's character with Holland, he's kind of a drunk fuck up.
Yep.
And we're not really sure if he was always that way, or it's because of his wife's death and having to raise his daughter pretty much by himself, which he's not really doing a great job of.
Oh, she's
And
doing more of the raising, right?
yeah, and what's kind of funny, what I was thinking about is like with Holly, her character kind of reminds me a little bit of like Penny from the Inspector Gadget animated series, where like
Oh,
Inspector
nice.
Gadget kind of sucks at his job, but she's the one that's actually really pushing forward the investigation.
That is
Nice.
brilliant. Yes, totally love
Yeah.
that analogy there. And I love too when you mentioned about the 70s aesthetic, because when the movie begins, it has that old school Warner Brothers logo
The old Warner Brothers logo, yeah.
that they used, and then bringing that 70s porno style soundtrack to it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I do
Vern's
agree
well
with you.
versed in the old '70s porno sound. Vern knows
Yes,
all about.
well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about 70s art films, okay?
Oh,
All right?
yeah.
They're art films.
Sure.
You don't
Yeah.
want to review art films. I tried to get you to review art films with me, Ashley, but you're like, no, I
I know.
can't review.
I don't like them.
Just
You hate
because the
film.
plot is about tits and ass does not mean that they're not art films, okay?
Yes. But I love what you said too about their chemistry. Even that beginning scene of them together, and he's gonna break his arm, and just their dynamic and their physical actions with each other is just great. Yeah, I could just watch the whole movie with just them talking to each other. My favorite sequence, and I'll get to you, Ashley, about your thoughts on this, is when they're driving in the car, and he says to Russell Crowe's character says to Ryan Gosling, like, look, you can just take your foot off the gas. The car will drive by itself. But yeah, you didn't know that? Cars do that. And they're driving around, and then there's a goddamn bumblebee talking in the background too. Yeah. Just
Oh, that was fun.
average.
Yes, because he was hallucinating or dreaming. Oh, he's dreaming because he fell asleep driving.
Yes.
Okay, he's probably drunk, is what it was. He's driving drunk.
Oh, that was funny.
But Ashley, give me your general thoughts about the Nice
Well, that
Guys.
was also my first time seeing this movie. I thought it was really, really funny, really smart. I really liked the Holly character. Yeah, I agree. Like, she was doing more of the detective work and investigating than the two grown men together. I really liked how, even though Ryan Gosling was a drunk, he was like, he managed to get shit done, even though he's a total drunk and a fuck up. Like, he still managed to do or find who he was looking for most of the time. So I really like I like the part towards the end where they go to Misty Mountain's house, and that's when right before that is when he realizes it's the aunt did see her, but it was just a film. And so I really liked how he figured out where the film was being kept. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
But I also like at the end that Russell Crowe got drunk. That cracked me up.
Yes, yeah, he doesn't freak at all. Yeah.
That was good. I was like, oh no, it's his turn to be drunk. Great.
As good as both Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling are in this, I also think that shout outs to Angora Rice, who plays Ryan Gosling's daughter.
Yes.
I thought she stole the show in a lot of these. The moment when they're at the house party of the porn director and all these porn actors are there, and she's walking through and she's like, Dad, there's horrors here and stuff. and he goes, "Don't say stuff. Just say there are horses
Yeah.
here."
Right.
Yeah.
And then when he was talking to that porn actress, and she had said, she's like, "Oh yeah, it's like porn and stuff." She goes, "Just say it's porn."
Yeah, no, she said, it's anal. I'm doing anal and stuff. And she said, just say anal.
That's right. I knew you would know the exact phrasing of that scene. I couldn't remember.
I think Vern studied that scene very. He was very on that scene.
He really dug into it. Yep, for sure.
If I was at the party and she says, "Come watch my movie," I would totally watch that porn stars movie, and we would discuss it. We would articulate the scene. I would ask her what. I want to know what her influences are when she's doing a scene like this.
Cinema Recall After Dark, right?
Cinema Recall After Dark with Vern. And not Ashley, because she goes to bed at 10.
That's fine. That's fine. Yes. Note to any porn actors out there that want me to analyze the movie with them, you can email us cinemarecall@gmail.com. All right, so put that out there. But yeah, and then I will say that I don't know about you, Robert, but this was my first introduction to Margaret Qualley as an actor. I know most people recognize her from being Pussycat in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She had a brief stint in Poor Things. But have you seen her in other things besides before this?
No. So the only thing like I said, my first recollection seeing of her was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then obviously I recognized her in Poor Things. I just watched that, and then I was like, oh yeah, shit, she's in this film, cool. And she is. I don't know if you guys know this. She's Andie MacDowell's daughter.
Oh,
really?
Did not know that.
Yeah.
I did. Oh, damn. Okay.
Very nice. So she's Andie MacDowell's daughter. Because I was like, man, she looks so familiar. It's like it's almost like I know her from somewhere, and that's I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course. Now once I made that connection, I was like, of course, that's her daughter. The only thing else I kind of knew her from, and I didn't realize it was her voice. I don't know if any of you are gamers out there, but Death Stranding. She's one of the voice actors in Death Stranding, the Hideo Kojima game that on PlayStation. I forget which character she plays in that, but yeah, she's in that. But she's kind of on the rise. She's a burgeoning actress. She's done a little bit, some TV parts here and there, but I think her film career is really starting to take off.
Cool. Yeah, she's recently I saw her in Sanctuary, which I really enjoyed, and she's also in Drive Away Dolls, which I haven't seen that yet.
To see that. Yeah, that looks good.
The trailer looked good. The movie not so much. But bummer. But take a look at it. You might disagree or but her in this movie, she plays the daughter of Kim Basinger's character, and she's the one that wants to release a film because her and her boyfriend are releasing this pornographic film that's going to expose all the car people about all the pollutions and toxins that are being put out there by the car companies. So she has that role in there. And I forgot to mention too, Angora Rice, who plays Ryan Gosling's daughter. I just saw her recently in the what do you call it here? Mean Girls remake. So she was
Katie.
The Katie, Katie in that one there. Oh,
yeah, she also plays a small part in the MCU Spider-Man films. I think she's one of the students in there. So because she's about that high school age at that point. So she was doing some of those parts in the MCU Spider-Man films.
That's pretty
cool. That's very cool. So this is the feature that Shane Black directed after Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which I think is one of his best movies. Ashley and I did an episode on Kiss Kiss Bang Bang for our Christmas season. And I know after he made this movie, that is how Jon Favreau discovered Robert Downey Jr. to be in the Iron Man series, and that's how he got Shane Black to direct Iron Man 3. And then based on the success of Iron Man 3, he was able to greenlight and make The Nice Guys. Robert, quick question for you, buddy. Are you familiar? I mean, have you seen a lot of Shane Black's other movies?
So Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I have not. I have.
Oh.
I mean, I've seen. I'm it's high on my list. I know it's a great film. I haven't seen it yet. I have seen, obviously, I've seen Iron Man 3. I know of his some of his acting roles, especially Predator, which is one of my favorite
Mhm.
films. The uh, I did watch The Predator, which is not as good as Predator, that he was
Fair
also the
enough.
director of. But I think because of with him doing Iron Man 3, I don't know if you noticed this, but the guy who Sid Shattuck, we just see him as a dead body. That is Robert Downey Jr.
What?
Is it
Yes,
really?
That's
he's
funny.
uncredited in the
Oh,
film, but he just plays a dead body in the film, and I think it's because that had worked with Shane Black. Is like, hey, do you want to just be a dead body in my film? Sure,
That's
let's do it.
amazing. That's crazy.
oh, that's
I
great.
had to go when I saw that, I had to go back and I paused it on the screen. It's like, oh my god, it is Robert Downey Jr.
That's funny because you don't recognize him. He's missing an eye. Or is he
Yeah,
missing both eyes?
Oh,
I can't even remember.
it's like his face is all disfigured because he's been shot in the face, so
Oh,
you
he's
don't
got shot in the
really,
face. Okay. I didn't
yeah.
know where he got. I
But
just knew he was dead and there was a big meaty part in his face.
yeah,
that's crazy.
I think I wasn't so much looking at the corpse as I was laughing at Ryan Gosling's reaction to finding a corpse sitting next to him after he
yeah,
tumbles down a hill.
yeah.
His reaction to
oh,
finding a corpse was the fucking funniest thing.
It's like the first
he's
time he's
got
ever
that
seen
great
one.
scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So good.
but I will say it was kind of.
And when he calls up to Healy and Healy's like, did you fucking fall down? He's like, I just thought that was so funny that he tumbles down the
I'm
hill and
investigating.
happens upon.
I didn't fall.
Yeah,
No.
I walked down here for sure. Yeah.
I do remember watching it with you, Ash,
Yeah.
and they had the reveal of the dead body because it was just all dark and then a piece of light comes on, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Like you were
It's
just
like,
as shocked as Ryan Gosling's character was when.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
you
Oh.
weren't expecting it. You see what's her name in the woods run away, and
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
there's the light, and then there's the corpse. You're like, oh shit. Yeah. I think half
There's
the
so
fun
many.
of watching movies with you, Vern, is you telling me what I do when I'm watching these movies. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just like, I'm in it.
So
I'm
you
Sounds
remember
like-
that when he's like, you remember that time when you pissed yourself laughing when we watched this film? It's thanks, guys. Thanks, audience.
Yeah. You know what? No, but I don't remember that, but I believe it to be true. Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
There are so many other great comedic moments of both of them, like when they're both hauling that body and they try to get rid of it, so they throw it.
And it ends up in a
Oh,
wedding
dude.
just lands on a wedding party's dinner table.
I fucking laughed myself silly on that scene. I was like, I had to pause. I was like, this is because everyone's screaming and like you just see Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. They're like, oh fuck, let's get the fuck out of here. And they
Yeah.
just take off for the other direction.
Yes. Oh gosh. And their comic timings are just so good when they're just walking across those protesters and they're like, we can't say anything because we're dead. And Ryan
But
Gosling steps on his hand.
masks have saved you?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't the gas mask save you? It's like, shut up, man! Like he gets like the middle finger, like
Yeah. So good.
Even
or he
when
steps
they're
on that girl's hand. He steps on that girl's hand accidentally, and she's like, "Ow!" It's like, well, I thought you were dead. So what does it matter?
Yeah, right.
yes.
I thought you were supposed to be dead.
I love the scene when they're at the bowling alley. It's for Holland's daughter's friend's birthday party, and one of her friends gets upset that Ryan Gosling said "God damn," and she says, "Use the Lord's name in vain." And he goes, "No, I found it very useful."
Yeah.
Yeah, shut up, Janet. I used it. I found it
Yes.
very useful.
Shut up, Janet. I found it very useful.
But I love the dynamics that both the Russell Crowe character has with the young girl too, because in the story, he gets paid to beat up guys who are being, guys who are, I guess, molesting younger girls or flirting with the younger girls, and
Yeah.
does that, and he becomes a friend with the girl. even though she says, "Oh, you're the one that beat up my dad, right?" And he goes, "No, it was just a little scuffle right there. He didn't beat me up. It was a takedown." And she goes to Russell's Crowe characters, you beat people up for money?" He's like, "Yeah." So if I want you to beat up my friend Susan over here, what would you pay for that? And they start to have like this whole
No, she wanted
They
him
start
to beat up
negotiating.
meeting and deal.
She
Janet,
wanted
there
him
it
to
is,
beat up
Janet.
Yeah,
'cause
Janet. It's like,
Janet's
I
annoying.
got $30.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
okay.
And if you notice at the end of that, because Ryan Gosling saying, "No, we're not going to do that. She's not going to do that at all." Near the end of that scene, both what do you call it here, Russell Crowe's character and Anna Wright's character, they shake hands and they make that deal. So, Janet, look out because you are going to get.
In my head canon, Janet got beat up by Russell Crowe. It's great.
Nice.
I agree. Yes,
It's not personal, it's
100%.
business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he was nice.
I
He
get
didn't
this
use
movie-
he didn't use the brass knuckles with Janet. He was nice.
Right. Probably just tricked
That's
her.
true. Yeah,
There we go.
that could be. Now, this movie also does feature Keith David in a very kind of small role as one of the henchmen that's trying
man, I
to
love
Ah,
him.
yes.
beat up Jackson Healy's. But I thought he was good in that. Also, want to give a shout out to I'm gonna mispronounce this actor's name, Waya DaCosta, who plays Telly, the girl that Holland is in love with, to the point that she screws these characters over,
And he
and yet
still is
he
like,
still
can't believe it.
he
Do you
still wants to
know
go on a
that
date
your
with her.
briefcase was filled with fake money? Crazy, man.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I'm the one who filmed it. Wow, somebody
Yeah,
switched it
but-
out.
Yeah.
And even when
And
she's like
she has-
trying, I love my favorite part of the scene where she comes in looking for the film during the big convention is when she shoots her gun and it ends up knocking, it like ricochets and hits something and she gets knocked out. They're running out of the room and
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling comes back and puts a pillow under her head. I thought that was
Eesh.
super funny. Like, even though she's there to kill them, he's like, I still have a chance.
It's okay.
like Russell
She
Crowe-
pointed a gun at me. We can work this out. It's okay. I've been beat up before by women.
Yeah,
It's all
we
right.
can talk about it. We can talk through it. It's fine.
And he's like, she's not really that bad. You're not really that bad. You don't want to be a killer. And Russell Crowe's like, she killed 3 people. Yeah, but that's back then. You always see people in your native view of the world, all right? People are not that native. I'm sure deep down she's a really nice person, all right? She doesn't want to do this stuff. And then you got his daughter throwing the pot of iced coffee that she thought was hot.
Oh my god, that's
And-
funny. She just
And
is
then
like,
the
It didn't work, but I
Oh.
like where your head's at.
yep.
yeah.
What were you trying to do? Splash you a scalding hot coffee. And that's right, because when she shot the bullet, nothing ricocheted and like fell. She took a step and she slipped, and then when she fell,
Yep.
she hit her head.
She went.
and
Yeah,
knocked
she slipped
herself
on the
out.
coffee and like knocked
Yeah,
herself
I
out. It's
forgot,
great.
Yes. So
Everything-
essentially, throwing the coffee did help.
Yeah.
It did.
Yep.
Mhm. But these characters are all very well established, and I love the fact too that Holland, the Ryan Gosling character, does care for his daughter very much. And despite all the tragic things that have happened, even though this guy does get drunk and in some cases can be seen as an alcoholic, he actually does care about this person even much. Even when you get to Jackson Healy's character, you think that he's a guy that just beats people up for money and whatnot. He does have a good heart and does care about people. He actually did save a whole diner against a gunman, and he says that was one of the best moments he ever had in his life. And he really does want to help out Ryan Gosling, and he does want to help out the little girl too. I find it odd that when the little girl is being chased by a bad guy that looks like a cross between Adam Driver and Jason Schwartzman,
Yes.
that even though he gets run over by a car, she still wants to help him out.
Yeah.
Oh
Which
yeah,
I found to be
Blueface. Yeah,
Blueface.
Bonap's Blueface. Yeah.
yeah, Blueface there. She still wants to like help care for him, and her and Margaret Qualley's character are running away, and Margaret Qualley's character just like takes off, and
Yeah.
she just must go back and save them. And then when I don't look at these names here again, when Jackson Healy comes by and he tells her, go find help. I'm gonna take care of him, and he actually does kill him. And I don't think she ever found out about that, but when at the very end sequence, when another big bad guy is about to kill everyone, and Jackson tries to kill him, she goes, "No, I don't want you to do this. All right, please, if you
You're
do this,
better
I
than
will
that.
never talk to you ever again."
Yep.
And Jackson says to him, "Look, you just got your life saved by a 12-year-old girl, so
Yeah, that was
I,
John Boy played by Matt Bomer. Like, yeah, that was. This is one of those things about this movie. Yes, is it a comedy? Absolutely, it's fun.
mhm,
I'm laughing my ass off during the entire movie, but it
yeah,
does have a lot of heart because
yeah,
you have with Holland March, clearly the guy he's dealing with a lot. He's now having to raise his daughter on his own. His wife died in a fire. I mean, their house burned down, and there's clearly a lot going on there. And maybe he was already kind of a drunk, but maybe not quite as irresponsible. But now that he's going through this and raising a kid and trying to do everything, like it's affected him. So maybe he's become more of a drunk and maybe not quite as he's not quite as attentive as he should be. Well, definitely not as attentive as he should be.
yeah. And I'm
You
sure he
have
blames himself. He blames himself too because of his no
it
condition,
is
and he can't smell
yeah
the gas, and
And
so
she
that's why
had
the fire got
complained about it,
started.
and he hadn't gotten it fixed.
Yeah.
yeah
So he hadn't got it fixed. So when it did happen, I'm sure he blames himself, and now because of the cause of that, that caused him to want to become an alcoholic and drink more to try
yeah
to
it
forget about the
to
fact that
dull that
he
pain.
killed his
Yeah,
wife.
and so you have that going on, and we don't know exactly like all the background on that, and I'm kind of glad we don't. It kind of gives us
Mm-hmm.
a way to like go more like think about these characters more and come up with our own theories. And with Jackson Healy, clearly he said like he's a guy who's he's always been like a muscle for hire, and clearly he got fucked over in a divorce. It seems like, and now he lives above I think in an apartment above the Comedy Store. So
Mm-hmm.
it's and he loves Yoo-hoo. He bought like 2 cases of it after he took it off of Holly earlier. But
And he loves
he's
his
going through a lot.
fish.
Loves his fish. That's why he killed Blueface. Is like, you fucked up my fish. You got to die now.
Yep.
So,
Sorry.
uh,
That
but
that makes
yeah,
sense.
he's going through a lot too. And the one time he wasn't a muscle for hire and he used his strength for good and he saved a bunch of people in a diner, he never felt better. And I
Right.
think this case kind of is a way for and really Holly too. This is a way for them all to kind of to work together. And yes, they're on this case, but they're doing the right thing as well, because they're really not gonna get paid for the most part, just because obviously the money that was going to be paid from Kim Basinger's character, that was all a front. That there
That
was
was
no money
pretty
there.
funny.
Yeah,
She was
Amelia
writing out
is
a check
dead.
for
Yeah.
10 grand, and then he's like, "Oh, like 5."
Oh,
She's
we
like,
would only do it
"Oh,
for nothing less than 5 grand. It's like, so he lost money there. Um, but then you have Amelia's dead. The
Mm-hmm.
person that they're working for or trying to help, she's dead. Yet they are going out of their way to make sure that what she was trying to do gets done, and they're going to protect
Yep.
that film to expose these people. Does it work in the end? No, but it does get some of these bad people, kind of thrown in jail, which is good. And so yeah, it's kind of this nice a way for them to get some sort of healing or redemption as a
Mm-hmm.
character. So I really like this. This is not just a dumbass comedy. There's a lot of heart to it as well.
No, and I totally believe that if this movie did better at the box office,
We'd
we
have
would have
sequels.
gotten more sequels, and they
We
would have gone
should.
after more people in this one. Which what makes me sad. And I was watching Patrick H. Williams talk about this movie, and he says that he'll never forgive audiences from going to see the Angry Birds movie over this.
That came out at the
That's
same
Because-
time.
At the same time, yes. And
Oh my
Angry Birds movie got
God.
number 1,
That's
and
so
this is like
lame.
number 10. Yeah. So
That's some fucking bullshit. Now I got another rage corner
Yeah.
now.
exactly, no right.
Put that one in your pocket
Oh.
for later. Yep.
So, really quickly though, I've got some comments online about the Nice Guys that we've had from our wonderful listeners here. From Shoot the Flick at Shoot the Flick says, "Love the Nice Guys. We did it recently on our show. It was such a fun movie. Both actors excellent at the roles. I want more of those characters." Totally
Agreed.
agree with that. Jalen Sella from Women in Session, she says, "The Nice Guy is probably one of the funniest films ever made." And she also, she also said something too about Lars the Real Girl. She says, "Lars the Real Girl is a brilliant movie, but it's less about humor and more about creating a bizarre sexual world that is as funny as it is as eerie. It is as eerie." All right. Let's get to you, Robert. What would you grade Nice Guys, and give it a quick little like, what would you tell people that have never seen this movie before? Like, give them like one little saying that you should watch Nice Guys because this, or
You should watch Nice Guys. Like I said, it's because it's a comedy film with a lot of heart, and it kind of harkens back to the great '80s comedies that did kind of the same thing, where it's not just about like, isn't this funny, guys? Look how funny it is. No, there's a lot more going on. It's if you like those type of movies, you're gonna love the Nice Guys.
yes, very good. Ashley,
Don't lie. I didn't
just
have
tell-
anything prepared. I'm not
just
good
tell
on
people
not
why-
good on jotting on the spot.
but you tell, why should people watch the Nice Guys?
Because it's a funny buddy comedy.
Funny buddy comedy. Okay,
I could.
I'll ask you
what she's
this.
gonna say is like,
I just when you
Let-
throw me out there, man, I'm like, I don't know. I guess I would say if you like kind of a quirky detective buddy comedy movie with feeling, give it a try.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty
See?
good. It's really
if
fun.
you like Ryan Gosling, you go
If
for
you
it.
like Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, and you want to see them
See?
fight each other but also be friends, it's pretty good.
Good times.
Pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I was
really
gonna
not
say-
on it today, Vern.
You're fine. I was
Like,
gonna say if you
what do we want me to say?
I was gonna ask you this too because you liked Kiss Kiss Bane Bane,
I really
and that's
do.
why I got you to watch this movie because I'm like, it's from the same writer and director of Kiss Kiss Bane Bane.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And it says it's got Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe. They play people that work together, but they're enemies a little bit at first. It's very funny. If you like the same dynamic that Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer had in Kiss Kiss Bane Bane, it's the same thing but with new characters. But it's a different story, and it's very good. Of course, Shane Black also did The Long Kiss Goodnight, and he also did the Lethal Weapon series.
Hell yeah.
He did The Last Boy Scout. Is another good one. So it's
Also,
got that
it's
same
also a
tape-
great buddy comedy film. Oh
I've
my
not
god,
seen
so
that.
good. Oh
The
man,
Last Boy Scout?
you're in for a treat.
Okay.
Oh,
how
yeah.
about this? I will watch this weekend The Last Boy Scout, but you have to watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang this weekend.
It's like done. Deal.
Done. All right.
Nice. Epic. Oh,
Excellent.
very cool. We all have high praise to say about the Nice Guys. I even read the novelization of the Nice Guys twice.
You
'cause-
would, you giant
There's a
nerd. I
novelization
love
of it too. Hell yeah, dude! I gotta
I
There's
didn't
get
know
that.
there was
novelization.
such a thing.
Yeah, it's actually a really kind of like a fun read, and so I really kind of enjoyed that very much. So very cool things. All right, so that is our review about the Nice Guys. Moving on from that, we are going to talk about Lars and the Real Girl after these commercial messages here. I'm playing this right now, so give me 1 second, because
Oh my gosh. You guys, I had a day. let me tell you before you can cut this out, right, Vern?
Oh yeah, I can.
You can cut this out, right, Vern? Okay, so listen. I had a dream last night, and a whole bunch of weird stuff happened. But one part was I was driving my car, and when I got out, like I was totally driving on the rims, and one of the tires wasn't even like moving, so it had like the rim wasn't even a full circle anymore. It was like grinded down from the pavement.
Oh man.
So I got up this morning. It was a really weird dream, but I got up this morning. I took Charlie to school, and then I ran one errand, and I came home. And when my landlord showed up, he sent me a picture of the back tire of my car, and it was flat. And I must have driven it while it was flat because there was like a whole groove on the outside wall of the tire. So you couldn't. So there was a nail in it, but it wouldn't have been able to be repaired because the outside wall was compromised.
Damaged the sidewall. Yeah. Damn.
So luckily, my boss, aka landlord, I work and live at a wedding venue, Robert. So, anyway, he helped me get my tire off, and he brought it in to get me a new tire, and lent me his extra pickup truck so I could work today. But that's how my day started. So I'm like, I'm not all there. I'm like, what a day.
You dreamed about it and it happened. That's what you're telling me. Like, so your dreams come true.
Not the dreams that pay better attention to my dreams, I guess.
All right. We'll be really brief with this next one here.
Oh, it's okay. It's just now I'm like, that kind of stuff always like physically drains me. Like that mental stuff. Oh, like even though he like fixed it and I have a car or I have a vehicle to drive, like I'm still like super physically drained.
There. I did that
from having to deal with it this morning.
All right.
So I'm like really tired right now, and I have this big blue light in front of my face, and I feel like I'm dizzy or hold on. Let's see if I can change the color. Hold on. Maybe a softer color won't make me feel like I'm being abducted by an alien spaceship. It did. I was like, that's all I could see.
All right, folks, continuing our look at Ryan Gosling movies, we are now moving to Lars and the Real Girl, 2007 feature directed by Craig Gillespie and written by, I want to say, Nancy. What did I have her name on there now? She was, Nancy Oliver. This movie stars Ryan Gosling, of course, Emily Mortimer, Paul Schneider, and Kelly Garner. Few other actors that I don't quite recognize. It is the story about Lars, played by Ryan Gosling, of course, who is this shy, timid guy. He doesn't talk to many people. He lives in a garage next to his brother and his new wife, played, of course, I said, by Paul Schneider and Emily Mortimer. They're about ready to have a kid, and they're kind of concerned that Lars spends all this time alone. And even when Lars is at church, there's one of his coworkers that obviously has a crush on him, but he doesn't know what to do. A lot of people in his church thinks he's gay. So he decides to do something and find a relationship with a sex doll. He orders a sex doll. He brings her home to his brother, calls her Bianca. Of course, his brother
right. I haven't seen it in forever.
Says that his brother thinks that he's absolutely just nuts. They go to the doctor. Oh, yeah, the doctor, I should mention, too, is played by Patricia Clarkson. And she tells everyone, great actress, she just says, you should all just go along with it and pretend that Bianca's real. So Emily Mortimer's character gets the whole town of people to go along with this whole thing. And they all pretend that she's real. And I think that Craig Gillespie, the director, has a good way of making outcasts and sort of like people that are like teased by society. He gives it like this human edge. Of course, he did I, Tonya and also Cruella. He takes like these outcast characters and makes them human. I'm dabbling on too much here. I apologize. Robert, this was your first time watching Lars and the Real Girl. What was your reaction to this?
This is a complete new film to me. I had never even heard of this, and I mean, I know Ryan Gosling's done a bunch of stuff. The one film that really kind of helped take him into the stratosphere was The
I've never
Notebook,
seen The
which I
Notebook.
have not seen. It's not really my thing, but this was one.
You guys, it's
Yeah,
so lovely.
I have a cruel heart. That's why I haven't
Your
watched it yet. But I'm
little
pretty sure.
stone heart.
I know.
I
I'm pretty sure my
you
wife
for
will
some
like
reason,
it.
Robert. I was like, this guy's
Yeah,
got it
I'm
going
pretty
on.
I'm pretty sure my wife will like it. Maybe we'll watch it together for the first time.
You should. If you don't cry, I don't know.
Yeah, I did watch. Yeah, I've heard it's a tearjerker, so I know my wife will. I don't know. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Although I do cry every time I watch Rocky, so I do have some feelings. Literally
cry
at
when
the
you
end of the
watch
film, I
Rocky?
cry every time. Yeah, I cry every time at the end of Rocky. It's
Oh man.
I mean, I did just watch with Ryan Gosling, Crazy Stupid Love. I did love that. I thought that was a great film
movie.
of his.
I love that movie so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
So good.
I did not expect to like it as much as I did, and I absolutely loved it. But with this
Which
one,
is that on our list?
It can be. If
Crazy
if we're gonna do Crazy Stupid Love, we're teaming it up with Blue Valentine.
Oh,
Blue.
I've never heard of Blue Valentine.
Well, we're not doing La La Land. I refuse to watch that.
That was not train wreck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got okay. Let me make it clear.
It was
you
horrendous.
did not like that movie because you were bawling at the end of that movie. You were sad, all right? You were sad. You were like, "Oh my, I can't do this. This is so sad."
I was angry. Yeah,
those are angry tears because I watched this film and I hated it.
Yeah, like what the fuck? What was all of this for?
They
what?
both achieved the dreams.
$15 on this shit.
I know. For what?
It was
for
not trash. They both got what they wanted. That movie was excellent. The end of oh yeah, they did. They got.
They did not do what they wanted.
She became an actress. He opened up that bar at that jazz club. All right, they both had their dreams about what they wanted to achieve. All right, and they realized we're not good for each other. Plus, she married the drummer from That Thing You Do. Okay, nothing wrong with that. All right.
Oh God! Don't bring up that movie.
I opened up some movies today.
I had a friend that really liked. He dedicated that song to me, and it was
the main
awkward in high
like
school.
Like a love song?
That Thing You Do.
Yeah, I know that.
Like from the movie. It was on a cassette. He gave it to me on
Just
a cassette tape, front and back, on repeat.
Wow, that's
rough. Man.
Okay. Yep. Did not know that.
I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. So yeah, I just avoided him at all costs because I was like, oh God, I can't. I don't even know how to respond. Now I would have, and now that I'm like emotionally like mature, I would have been like, thank you so much. You know, we're just gonna be friends, and that's cool. I really appreciate this. But even then, I couldn't even listen to the song.
That's fair.
I couldn't even look at that person's direction. Couldn't do it.
Go back to Lars and the Real Girl.
Let's get back.
But speaking of Lars, the Real Girl, it was a brand new watch for me. There's a lot going on here. I mean, so much of The Nice Guys. There's so much going on underneath the surface that we don't have anything like necessarily spelled out for us. We kind of have to do a little bit of digging into these characters because what we sort of find out, Lars, obviously is the younger brother of Gus, played by Paul Schneider, and he, it sounds like when Lars was born, his mom died in childbirth. Horrible. You know, it's like, so he's never met his mother. His father was completely devastated by this, and obviously Gus is much older. He's a younger kid, but he's able to adapt and kind of just overcome those problems. Kids are strong; they're able to make a way to kind of figure things out. As horrible as that is, but Lars never was able. He never learned
Yeah.
any of that stuff, to how to adapt and kind of figure, because he's a baby. He's at his weakest, and his dad just looks at Lars and sees his wife's death, and because of that, doesn't really. He's not an idiot. He knows how to. He's a smart guy. He knows how to function. He knows kind of the basics, but he does not know how to interact with people. He
Hmm.
is. He's afraid of touch. Probably his dad never hugged him or said anything nice to him, and uh, you know, Gus, as he got older, he's like, I need to get out of this place, and I need to just go. And what he regrets later on is that he didn't take Lars with him and kind of just help him along. And when their dad does, I don't know how recently their dad had passed. Maybe it's a few years ago. They obviously got this house, and
Yep.
he brought Lars back. Maybe out of guilt, he brought Lars back and said, "Hey, like, we have this property. Why don't we'll convert the garage into a living space for you. You live
Yeah.
here with us, and everything will be great." But with Gus's wife, Karen, she realizes, like, this is not good for him to just be in that garage alone, not talking to anybody and never interacting with anything. That's just not normal. And she's the first one that sees the real problem that's going on with Lars. Everything seems okay. Like, he goes to work, he comes home, he eats, like he is all, for all intents and purposes, he's living a normal life. But behind the scenes, she knows that that's not real.
Yeah.
And she's the one that exposes, like, hey, we need to get him out of this garage, get him out of this shell.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where our movie starts. And it is a rough movie, but like, there's a lot there, and it's actually really good. I
Well,
started out, I was like, what am I watching? And by the end of it, I was like,
because you're at first you
this is
kind of
quite an
act
amazing
like
film.
Gus's
I like
character
this.
when Ryan brings that shit all over. I'm thinking like Gus's like, you are insane. You're thinking this is like a real person. What is going on with my brother here? Why are you doing this? But as the movie does progress, and you get to see all of these other community members and family members really stick their necks out and help out Bianca, get her hair done. Bianca reads stories to kids at school. This community just really loves Lars so much. Now, I'm gonna say this right now. I believe that since this is Ryan Gosling and he's a good looking chap, if I came home with a sex doll and says, "This is my new girlfriend," I would not be loved as much in the community as Lars is. Okay.
Well, hold on a minute though, Vern. If you lived in a small
Okay.
community where everybody knew everybody, and they knew that you were lived alone most of your life, I
Oh,
and I
okay.
don't think
Fair
it has a lot to do with what the person looks like. I really do think it's because
enough.
that
Is this my
community
co-host
really cares
Bianca?
about each
Will you
other.
help? Let Would
Yes.
you like to talk about
Look,
this
Ashley, I
movie
brought a new
with my
friend for
co-host
my
Bianca?
podcast here. All right.
Vern might be a little
See?
concerned.
Hey, Bianca. Hey,
Oh,
girl. Hey, girl.
So the one thing so Bianca, to me, was this is Lars doesn't know how to communicate. This is his. I don't know if it's, I wouldn't say a cry for help, but this is I think his way of maybe
yes.
trying to communicate with people.
Exactly.
And and so which is also to Gus and a lot of the people around him. It's like, okay, this is weird. Something is wrong. We gotta see about what we gotta do something, which is yeah, which I think is a normal reaction to this. And I do love the doctor here, played by Patricia
Yeah.
Clarkson, Dagmar Bergman. What a name, Dagmar. You know, who also she has her own stuff that she's going through with like a dead husband and stuff like that. And considering that this is a small town, you don't think of like, oh, well, she's a great psychiatrist too. You don't think that. But what she does is she sees like, okay, this is very sensitive. Let me play along with this and use that as a guise to talk to Lars and figure out what's going on and see what we can do about this. And that's when she provides that, hey, I think what would be best is that he is using this as a way to communicate. Let's pretend like Bianca's real, which is crazy, I know, but we're gonna do this, and I think he's gonna start to break out of it. And what I think is interesting is clearly just him interacting with Bianca. If they had just allowed him to do that, and it would be, I think that would have made him worse. But what they did was the people who were involved, that got involved, like, it was smart, is that they chose to make Bianca busy and putting her in different parts of the community. It's like, hey,
Yes.
she's gonna volunteer here and volunteer there, and she's gonna read these books to the kids here, and and there's this church thing here. And what it did is that it forced him to go and interact with the community, albeit through Bianca. But that's like how he started to now he's starting to get out, and he's not just hanging out in the garage by himself going crazy. He's starting to reach out and become like a real, more connected with the community and become a real person. And I don't know necessarily what caused him to utilize Bianca for that. Like, was it that Margot showing that she's clearly interested in him, which I still can't quite figure out why she's interested in him, or is it because Gus and Karen, they're having a baby, and that's kind of triggering some past trauma from with his mom passing away when he was born. Maybe it's all of it. And but he doesn't know how to reach out.
And I love the fact,
here's how I'm gonna reach out in this crazy way.
That's kind of how I felt. Like, I felt like as soon as what's the girl's name that is interested in him?
Margot,
yeah. He's not sure what to do, and I think he's like, well, I wonder if he thinks to himself, like, well, if I have a girlfriend, then I'll just, like, maybe it's so uncomfortable for him that he's like, this is the only way I can, like, process how to talk to even process how to talk to Margot.
Yeah.
But I really think, I just find that super, super interesting that I didn't, like, consider when I had watched it, that perhaps his sister-in-law being pregnant as well might have triggered that response to get a doll. And I really like how how much respect he shows to the doll. Like, I just think that's an adorable part of the movie.
He actually does give Bianca a lot of backstory, and a lot of the backstory that he gives Bianca is stuff that happened to his mom too. He mentions that both of her parents died when she was very young, childbirth, and the doctor says, oh, like your mom too, and he's like, yes, very much like that. And like you said before too, both are saying that it's just a great way for him to communicate with other people, to the point where she started to go out to more places. Lars becomes jealous that she's going to all these different places, and they even start to have fights. Like, they've never had fights before, and now they're having fights because he's no longer important in her life, in this doll's life. This doll is having more of a social life than he has, and he's just very angry and upset and just jealous and nervous about that. And yeah, I found it to be a great way for him to come out of his shell just a little bit more. And I gotta respect the screenwriter and director by not showing us any like flashbacks of his youth. We don't really need to know about traumatic events in there.
Thank God.
Yeah,
I'm
very happy about that. There's that great sequence when he's upset that Bianca's away, so he's chopping wood, and Emily Mortimer comes out, and they both have this great sequence where he's like, "Why is she away? Why can't she be here with me?" And I mean, one of the characters goes, "We're doing all this for Bianca because of you. We love you. That's why we bathe her and we're driving her to these places. All right, we're doing this stuff because we do care about you. All right, why are you being so selfish about this?" And I'm sure that awakens something in that character's mind. I found it to be just a very lovely scene. I even love the fact too that Gus, the brother who was like, I got to send my brother to a factor, to a mental institution. He starts to warm up when he's at his work, and his coworkers are like, "So, does she have a sister?" And one guy's like, "I wish my wife wouldn't talk either," and they're like warming up to us. They're making humorous comments of it. And this whole town
I did like
community is
that
just
scene.
like
That was great.
warming up. Like, this is a great way for our community to deal with somebody who has a mental illness, because I think they say in the movie it's a the associative disorder or something. They do give a name to it that I can't.
Yeah,
And
he
I
had
love the
several of
fact
those
that this
issues.
community,
Yeah.
instead of just shunning him, which I feel like a lot of movies would do, just take this person and lock him up away somewhere, that they embrace this and they do go through this with them. And this helps the character grow. And by the end of the movie, spoilers for Lars the Real Girl, folks, but Bianca does get ill
Spoiler.
during one sequence. Like, she won't wake up. And the Gus gets so nervous, doesn't know what to do, says, "Call 911." And she does go, like, "What are you doing?" "I don't know, I just freaked out, call 911." And the hospital all take her to the hospital there too. And in my mind, I'm watching this, I'm like, I'm concerned about this woman being dead soon. And she's a doll, all right? But I just found it to be just a
Yeah.
great, it's the combination of good acting and the music and the scenes, but I actually really believe this doll to be a real person. That's why it's called Lars and the Real Girl, because you do kind of buy into it like the other town members do. So yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I really like how they.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'll let you go. You please.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say I really liked in that movie how when he starts to not meet her, that's when she gets sick. Like when he starts to not need that crutch anymore, he correlates it with, oh, she gets sick and then she ends up dying because he doesn't need her anymore.
They did.
But didn't they have a funeral for her? Did they have a funeral?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Like a big whole thing. It was a long time was a long time ago that I've watched it. So, but I just think, and everybody was so like truly concerned in the town that she was ill.
But even when Bianca's going away, that allows Lars to go to bowling with Margot, and they start to have a little relationship there.
Right.
It starts to start off a little bit.
Yeah, that was the scene I was going to talk about, because I liked that scene, like where Margot and I got to take her to this student count this PTA meeting thing that she's doing, or a student board meeting, and then after that we can go bowling, and so Margot's happy about that, and I think he's still like kind of nervous, not really sure exactly how to interact, but the fact that he chose to go out with Margot in that moment is so huge for him. That is a huge stepping stone, and that's also where Bianca starts to become sick. That's where he just in his mind, she starts to become sick, because he does start to realize that he has feelings for Margot as well. But the other part that I liked about that, initially I thought this was they were maybe going to make fun of Lars, because these are the coworkers of Gus's at his work.
Oh,
but when I saw it, like when I thought about it at the end of the film, I was like, no, that's not what's happening at all. It's like, oh, Lars and Bianca are here. One, we want to go bowling, but it's like, hey, this will be a great way for us to help Lars kind of open up a little bit and interact with more people, because they're all having fun, but they're including Lars in the fun as well. So it's not like they're like, Lars, you're such a weirdo, you're a freak, and he's off in some corner somewhere. No, like Lars is part of that group, and I think he's kind of basking in that. It's like, I'm happy right now. Whether he doesn't say that, but you can kind of see it in his face that I'm glad that I'm here, that I'm thinking that, and that's where we start to see where Bianca gets sick and eventually ends up passing away, because, like you said,
I like the ending of
he
that
does not need
scene
her anymore.
with him and Margot, because it's kind of the first time he's allowed like physical touch to happen. It's just a handshake. Now we have to understand too that prior to this, Lars has always considered physical touch to be like burning. It feels like burn. When Patricia Clarkson's character is getting close to him and she just puts his hand on his shoulder and she's like, "How's that feel?" He's like, "I can take it. It's painful, but I can take it." And the more that she tries to get close to give him a hug, he's like, "I can't do that. It burns too much." But with him and Margot at that bowling alley, and they just touch hands and they hold each other's hands for like a long time, it no longer burns him. And I found that to be just a very heartwarming, romantic scene. Very romantic scene is just two hands holding, but you can totally get that. He's finally is a handshake to the kiss. Like he finally found someone to have physical touch with that doesn't hurt anymore. So found it to be very.
That's very. That's
even at
really
the point at the end.
And he's not wearing his gloves either, which is the other. He takes his glove off
even
to shake
the
her
point
hand.
where at the end of the movie, when they're at the funeral, and I love the fact that Margaret just comes and just stands next to him, and they don't really say too many words, and he finally makes the initiative and says, "Would you like to go for a walk with me?" You know, which he would never have done before. So
that's big.
Yeah, he's going more with that.
Never.
Because now he can speak for himself. He doesn't have to speak through Bianca anymore.
Right.
That's the key of that scene, and that's why it's so powerful. It's really great.
First movie from writer Nancy Oliver, and she got a Best Screenplay nomination for this movie, which I'm none. Just this. She wrote episodes of she wrote episodes of True Blood, but that was it. Oh.
Yeah, and apparently, like, so the idea for this, from what I was reading about it, and I don't know, I couldn't fully confirm it, but what it sounds like is that, but like where she got the idea from was the idea that, because sex dolls are a real thing. I don't know if you guys know that, but
what?
there was at the time, like, that she was writing this, there was this site, it was like realdoll.com or whatever, and it's like, well, what if we, so she looked at that, it's like, well, why don't we make this into a story, like that someone utilizes a sex doll, but maybe doesn't use it for sex, and that's kind of what became Lars and the Real Girl. Because it could have easily gone into that vein where, like, we're gonna do some debased things to this sex doll, and it's funny. There's that little scene where Karen was like, she's like, the fuck, and she like looks in and peeks under the skirts, like, oh my lord, it's like so we know that it is what what we know it
really is
but,
what it
is. But it's so. But I think that's kind of like these writers sometimes have some crazy ideas where they like, you know what? There's these sex dolls out there. Let's see what we can do with that. Oh, I got a great idea. We're not going to use it as a sex doll. We're going to use it as this device to help this person to overcome his afflictions in life. And that's, I think that's wild. It's
so smart.
I do know
so
that they're. Well, I'll just say real quickly too, because oh, please do.
Oh, sorry. I just have one more thought about, like, I'm sorry, Vern. I'll stop.
No,
I just have one more thought. Okay. Well, I just wanted to say about, like, Ryan, because we're talking about Ryan Gosling today. So with both these films, he's putting himself in a place where he is not necessarily like the maybe not the ideal character. He is he's a guy that is going through trauma and he's trying to figure his life out in very different ways, obviously. But and that's not always something that a lot of actors want to do. They want to be the hero, or some people they like to play the
Mm-hmm.
villain, and he is being vulnerable in these roles. So I think that that's really I'm really glad that Gosling decides that he's kind of done that throughout his entire career too, which
Yeah.
is great. And I'm glad that he has sought out these roles where he's
I
challenging
totally agree
himself
with
as a
that. I
person, and
think
he
that
enjoys it.
Ryan Gosling is a really great actor who can tackle all these different types of performances. I mean, the first time I ever got wind of Ryan Gosling was in Drive. Now, I know I've seen this movie before I've seen Drive, but I didn't really recognize it as a Ryan. And you watch like Drive or Blue Valentine, The Place Beyond the Pines, uh, Barbie, even, but like he just has like this wide range of movies and roles, and comparing both this to the Nice Guys are very different types of roles. And the Nice Guys, he's a lot more still he's a lot more confident, not as confident, but
Yeah,
he's got a lot more to say. And this movie is a lot more subdued, very much like he is in Drive and Only God Forgives. But he just has this shy mentality that makes you warm up to him. I mean, he's not this little freakazoid guy that just has a sex doll just to, get freaky with it. He's using this, as we all both said before, as a way to deal with his, his
Yeah.
mental anguish and a lot of his mental health issues. And I found it to be just a very great, very sweet movie. This is a movie that I can easily have, the family watch, and they can enjoy it because it's PG-13. They're the only thing that's going to be different about it is that the only
Yeah.
thing they're going to have issues with it is because they say the word sex doll, and that's really it. So no.
yeah. The one thing
Mm-hmm.
also too where it could have easily devolved in
Yeah,
where we're making fun of people with these afflictions, because there are people that have these problems, but that's Ryan Gosling he doesn't do that. He because I don't. I wouldn't say
mm-hmm.
I feel sorry for for Lars. I want him to win.
Yeah,
That's the thing. We're rooting for Lars to overcome his afflictions. I think that's kind of the point of the film. And maybe he's not the hero, but we're all rooting for Lars in this. So, and we're not making fun of people with these afflictions, but we're rooting for these people to become. We want them to reach out and become a part of the community around him, because this town loves him. And there's a point where he's kind of where maybe he's kind of having a
yeah,
tantrum when Bianca is off in the thing, kind of doing all these things, and where Karen she
yeah.
kind of snaps a little bit in that scene where she's like, "We're doing it for you, Lars, because we love you," and her voice is cracking and she's crying, which is a brilliant piece of acting by that actress. Um, and it's not because she's she hates Lars or anything. It's like, no, we're
Mm-hmm.
doing it. We're doing all this
Yeah,
for Bianca because we love you. So snap out of it. Come on. And there was
Yeah.
kind of and that's where things start to, where Lars starts to realize, maybe I'm being selfish a little bit. And that's when the things start to change and we get to the point where we get at the end of the film. And it's like, we don't, my hope is that when the film ends, he continues on that upward trajectory where he does become
100%.
more
That was very well
incorporated with
said.
the rest of the
Yes,
community that
Robert.
does care
That's
about him.
brilliant. I could not have said that any better myself. I totally agree. I think Ryan Gosling could have played this in a way that's just too creepy, and you don't really want to be on his side. But no, you're totally 100% on his side, and uh, there are elements I liked about the movie where yes, it is weird, and you kind of want to laugh at him, but you're so he's our main protagonist, and you don't want to. Yeah, I found it to be the whole thing to be brilliant because I'm looking at this movie from both Justin's perspective as well as Lars' perspective, and even the wife's perspective too. And all these elements are pulling together in my brain. That yeah, I loved it. And Bianca, the woman that played Bianca as that live doll, that was excellent work right there. just brilliant acting.
Fabulous.
Brilliant. Easily
I
never
love
said a word, but her presence was spoken throughout the entire film. She was amazing.
Her range is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you to
when they bring the doll home and they place the doll on the bed,
Bianca's performance. She
and
did
the
amazing.
doll just flops over to fall asleep. I thought it was brilliant, especially Ellie Mortimer's reaction to that. It's like, oh wait, is that real? Like, and there are moments too where the characters will look at Bianca going, "Huh, I can see this person being a real thing." So yeah, close with that. As mentioned before, Craig Gillespie, who also directed this, also did I, Tonya. Highly recommend that, as well as Cruella. He did the Pam and Tommy series on Hulu, which is a great thing as well. Yeah, same.
Oh,
was that him? Oh wow!
Did he?
And I know Vern, you love remakes, so he did the Fright Night remake. So go ahead and check that out.
I did not know that was okay, because I just did not mind
that was one of his
remake.
first films. Yeah,
I just did. I thought Anton Yelchin did a good job in that.
yeah, it was pretty good.
But
Anton,
it's not bad. That's one of the remakes
where it's like,
okay, they did an okay job with that. I'm okay with this one.
Too much of a dick in a lot of that movie. To the point he got to be a little bit annoying, but I do think overall it was a fun flick. Oh, all right. Let's do this. Let's give our grades and what we would say to people to get them to watch this movie. Like, hi, Ashley. Let's say you're in a video store. Let's say I got you a job at a video store, Ashley. And I'm like, hi, have you heard about this movie called Lars and the Real Girl? Is this good?
I feel like I'm on Reading Rainbow.
Can my whole family watch this?
Lars and the Real Girl.
Most of the family?
I think most of the family can watch this.
Would you tell them that it's about a guy?
I don't know. Ask Robert. I've told you. I'm not a...
Would you tell people the premise?
Do you like sex dolls?
Yeah. It's very cute.
If you like sex dolls, Ryan Gosling, and people with social problems, Lars and the Real Girl is for you.
That's right.
You had me at the sex dolls.
And just hold the...
And you got Ryan Gosling. And I'm pretty sure some people would say, is Ryan Gosling the sex doll? Can I order this? Is he? You know?
In my dreams, he is.
Very good.
See, now you gotta watch the film to find out.
That's right. Fern,
oh, it is.
Robert,
all right. Well, Ashley, bye.
You guys finish this up. I gotta get my kid to bed. It's already 8:30.
All right. Thank you for coming on the show.
Good meeting you.
Hey, nice to meet you. Hey, watch your movie. I'll watch mine.
All right.
It's on my list. I'm gonna do it after we get off. So
right now,
cool.
She's got to take her kids to bed. We're getting to the end of our show. Robert, first of all, thank you so much for being on here. I greatly appreciate that. Can you?
Vern. It was an honor to be on with you guys today. So thank you,
all
sir.
About Cinemigos, and tell us where we can find you. Tell us about your latest episodes, the whole 9 yards.
Oh yeah, I would love to do that. So Cinemigos podcast. The premise is my co-host Heidelberg and John. We each week we rotate hosting duties, and the host introduces a film that the other one or both hosts, one of the other guys, have not seen before. So our most recent episode was The Last of the Mohicans. Heidelberg introduced that one from the Michael Mann film from 1992. That has just dropped. That's going on this week for people to listen to. Week before that, it was my pick. We did The Sword of Doom, Kihachi Okamoto's The Sword of Doom, a great samurai flick. We have a lot of fun. It's not just stuck to one genre. We're going to different eras, different genres, all sorts of different stuff. So it's been a lot of fun kind of going through that with those guys and talking about just films. And we kind of go scene by scene, and we talk about the history. We talk about how we got to the film and all this fun stuff. So we're learning about the films, and we're enjoying the films together, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm having a great time with it with my co-host. But yeah, if you want to reach out to us on the social medias, Instagram is cinemigos_podcast. You can reach us on X or Twitter, or whatever you want to call it. It's at Tres Cinemigos, TresCinemigos. We have a letterboxd, which is just Cinemigos, and we kind of have a link to our episode and like a small breakdown of the episode and what we kind of our aggregate score of the film. Facebook, Cinemigos on Facebook. And we also have a email, the Cinemigos podcast at gmail.com. So you can reach us there as well if you have a thought about the film, or maybe
Very
there's
cool.
something we
I'll make
missed
sure
or
to
a mistake
post
we made.
links
We'd
in our
love
show
people to tell
notes
us or
about where
interact
you
with
can
us. That'd be
find
great.
them. Since this episode is being recorded earlier, all those episodes that Robert mentioned should already be on their platforms already for you to check out and listen to.
And our 47 Ronin episode will be out as well. Not 47 Ronin. What's the next film we're doing? Shoot. Oh no, we are doing. Hold on, let me pull up. I got mixed up because we're a little ahead on our episodes too. Let me pull up what our next episode will be, which is our next episode. Oh, that's right. It's going to be another kind of interesting, kind
Big
of similar
Fish,
to like
nice.
Lars and the Real Girl, Big Fish by Tim Burton from 2003, and trust me, guys, that is it's a film you want to watch,
I will have to
and you're going to want to
Big Fish
listen to our
again, because I
discussion
really
we
do
get
enjoy
real
that
deep on
movie.
that one.
That movie really kind of surprised me. So I will look forward to Big Fish. Very cool. As well as 47 Ronin, you said? Okay. That's fair.
That's going to be in about a month from now. That's going to come later. I'm working on that episode right now, and yeah,
That
it's
is
just
cool.
my brain's kind of
all right.
Topsy turvy at this
As for
moment.
Cinema Recall, I'm not quite sure
But that's an
what our
upcoming
next episode and our Gaga for Goslin series is going to be. I'm also finished up work on a script of Reservoir Dogs. We're going to do an audio drama adaptation of Reservoir Dogs, but with an all-female cast. So that should be happening. It's going to take some time to get all the actors together.
That's going to be fun.
And for me to finish my script. Plus, I'm in the midst of finishing up a film festival, and I've got to do some written reviews from that, as well as some audio reviews. So that's going to happen here shortly. Our last episode was on Howard the Duck with Kaylee from Once Over with Kaylee. So check that out. Recently, I was on an episode of the Reels of Justice podcast talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. You can find everything from Cinema Recall by going to our website, cinemarecall.net, or just search for us on your keyboards. Just type in Cinema Recall. We do have a Patreon page. Patreon is where you can hear episodes early before anyone else. We also post video footage uncut. Patreon.com. And this part of the show, I gotta give a quick shout out to all of our amazing Patreon members. In no special order, I want to thank right now Jason Soto from Rabbit Hole Podcast. I do have a new show on Rabbit Hole Podcast called Bunny Bites, which I play clips from all the other podcast shows on the network. So that shows up every month. Bunny Bites at rabbitholepodcast.com. I'm also want to thank Jeanette Miller Mickenham from AKA Jeanette. Jeanette has done voice work for us from our Night of the Living Dead audio drama, so thank you, Jeanette. I want to thank Matt and Ashley from Mashley at the Movies. They recently reviewed One Night with the Devil, or Late Night with the Devil, that new 70s horror film that's supposed to be really good, so check them out. I also want to thank Donnie Roberts from at Unroad Goals on Twitter. He also writes the Deep Sea Anthologies. I got to thank Linda Castro from Bed Knobs and Broomflits. Thank you, Linda. I want to thank Harvey Andrus, who doesn't have a website, but he's our friend. Harvey, we love you. Thank you very much, Harvey. And then lastly, I got to thank Jen McQuaid from Shot and Applaud. Thank you to all these individuals. If you want to be like these amazing individuals, go to our Patreon page. Again, patreon.com/Cinema Recall Pod. We have tiers at $3, $5, and $10. If you're a $10 member, you can choose any movie you like, and we'll talk about them. Donnie Roberts is one of our $10 members, as well as Harvey. So they have a chance to come on the show and talk about anything they want to. Also, want to give a quick shout out right now, because I didn't do this earlier, to Full Swap Radio. We are available on their Sunday night program, their Vanilla Sunday night program, Vanilla Sundays, FullSwapRadio.com. Full Swap Radio is a kink and fetish website, and I guess they consider us to be super kinky that they have us on their Sunday night program. So very cool. Give them a shout out as well. But that's it. Thank you for watching, for listening, whatever you do. Thank you to Robert for coming up with our title for Gaga for Gosling. I'll be sure that each time we do an episode of these, that I give the Cinemigos podcast a shout out and take them as well and things. So,
well, I appreciate that, sir. You know, and hey,
yes,
with that
that is true. That is 100%
with that
true,
kink and
Robert. I
fetish
love
website,
that.
Lars and the Real Girl is perfect for this.
Anyways, I will leave you all, and this is where I will stop the recording, and you will hear me singing this last part of the song.